Hello and welcome to this episode of Flying Visits, the food series where I meet up with local cafe owners, bars, gastronomic geniuses, you name it, to catch up with everything about their business and get a look inside to what's going on with them. Today I'm on the heart of Union Street at 8848 to find out what the restaurant has in store for this year's Aberdeen Restaurant Week. Joining me today is owner Krish.
You're welcome to be here, and then I'm very delighted to welcome you here.
Great, glad to have you on the podcast and the series as well. So let's start off with 8848. I had you on my eat list for quite some time and never managed to tick you off, but I finally visited a few days ago, which was fantastic. But for others like me who maybe not been in, do you want to give us all a bit of backstory about what 8848 is all about?
Definitely. Well, the name 884 is the highest mountain on earth, Mount Everest. It's the height of the Everest. And when we thought about the restaurant, we thought about do something, that retains the height of the cuisine. So we came up with that name, and we wanted to combine the best Nepalese and Indian cuisine in one place. So this is how the name 884 derives, and this is what you can expect here.
Oh, amazing. That was one of my questions. Where does the name come from? So that's perfect. And so you've got a massive space here, plenty of places to get booked into, and you've also have an event space up at the upstairs. What sort of events are perfect to hold here at 8848?
Well, basically, we are very open with our experience that we can do all sort of conference and the corporate dinners, and at the same time, stand up events like the Aberdeen Restaurant Week launch.
Great. And how many people can you hold?
About standing about 40, but sitting in about 28.
Oh, amazing. Perfect. So if you've got any events coming up, get yourself upstairs. And I love hearing about different food cultures and the ethos behind food. What was on your dinner table when you were growing up? What sort of food was there?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Basically, I am from Nepal, and studied in India and then started working in different places. So if I remember correctly, we always had the joint family, and you never knew what they were cooking in the dinner. And we're so humble that we never even ask like what they're cooking. But again, I can see the balanced meal. My grandmother and obviously my mother, they were just making something very simple and something within the range of our own, farm. So nothing exotic, but at the same time, very delicious meal that I remember. And before you arrive, I was talking to my mother, and we still talking about food. So it goes a long way back.
Nice. And it's like one of those things. I suppose it's an experience that you get everyone in, and everyone shares the food and shares the same love of the food that's been created that day. And not knowing what you're going to get is even better, and it's always good.
Exactly.
And do you have like a fond food memory of growing up that you still carry with you today?
I do, yes. It comes with the your probably the genetic idea or something else. But again, I really like something very natural. Even though I go to the restaurant today, a lot of fancy restaurant, but I tend to pick something within the range, and I wanted to try something very unique from that place. So that's the idea that I carry along.
I was here for the ambassadors event for Aberdeen Restaurant Week, and we got a little taste of your menu, got to see what was in store. But do you want to fill everyone in of what to expect from your menu this year?
We wanted to go something different because our idea is always wanted to offer, very different, as they say, observe the mass, do the opposite kind of thing. So we didn't go for the 10 and 20 pound menu, and where you offer the very basic things to, which is still a good thing to bring people in. But our idea was to, play the higher bet. And we've created the menu, 5 courses menu, which is very special menu, I think. And, combine all different part of, India there, and so that people can come and try different things, saying, oh, this is a, thing that we're missing from 884. And for those people like yourself who has, have not been here before, it gives the chance to say, okay, 84 is slightly different than other places, because it's very hard to convince the quality.
And the food was fantastic, and I think when a lot of people when they think of Indian, they just think curry. But what was great with all the different plates that came out, there was something different. Like everything was different from the last. There was nothing that was similar. It was all different things, and I think it was the lamb Was it lamb leg or
The rack of
the
lamb.
rack of lamb? Oh, it was great. It was
Oh,
really
thank
good.
you.
So if anyone's coming here for Restaurant Week, get that on your list because it's really, really good. So for this year on the podcast and this series, I am creating my very special Aberdeen Restaurant Week dinner safari where I'm going to different restaurants for starter, main, and dessert. So I've chosen to come here for my starter, and I think that's a good starting point. What would you recommend I order for that starter?
Right. Well, there are different things that you can try. Obviously, when you say you like lamb, so I can see that you like the very tender, juicy kind of
Yeah.
thing. So there are different. I would say Bombay spice chili chicken is there, which is very popular. If you wanted to go for the vegetarian, like there are Manchurian. We also tried Manchurian. The 9 different vegetable we mix together and make a bowl. So that is another thing to try. So I would say there are plenty of things, and we'll also observe you and your mood and the weather, and we'll recommend them.
Make the best pairing. I like it. Restaurant Week aside, from your normal menu, what is an item that you could eat time and time again?
As I said, like there are different people and their taste buds are different.
Yeah.
So I normally tend to ask questions like what they're having and what they want to try.
Yeah.
Do they want to be a bit more courteous when it comes to the menu, or they want to stick with their own taste bud? So within that range, there are so many different items. Actually, I'm not just saying because of 884 is our restaurant, but again, the tests are very different here. We cover literally 8 different part of India when it comes to the cuisine. Because when you go to Kashmir, it's a different cuisine. You come back to South India, it's different. So what we have done is like there is a very nice infused cuisine that we have created. So I will just guide them through accordingly. But if you ask me right now, one dish, what do you want to try? I'll probably go for the bagara mixed vegetable because I'm vegan. But
Okay.
another dish is beautiful dish is Himalayan chicken chatinat. I don't think you can get anywhere else.
Oh, fantastic. And that's what I really like. Indian is probably my least explored cuisine because I'm not really a fan of really spicy food. So
Okay.
that sort of process that you've got of speaking to people and finding out what they like would be perfect for me. So
Exactly.
that's great. And what would you say your signature dish is here?
We try to create a lot of dishes, but again the lamb sang that we cook like 6 to 8 portion every day. It depends on how busy we are, and that takes about 6 hours to braise, and then with the spices and all, that is really popular. I know there are people like they literally come for that dish, and also the butter chicken here is very unique because we go back to the old recipe of Bukhara, which is in Delhi. They used to cook really nice butter chicken, and it takes about 9 to 10 hours because you soak it in the one day earlier, and then make it to like next day. So that is another dish to try. So I mean, to be honest with you, because I involved in the concept, so I'm in love with the menu, and it's not just about the menu, Colin. Sometimes it's about how you execute, how you make it, how you present it. So I think we have got it right
Yeah,
there.
you definitely have. Fantastic. And touching on it at the start, but where does the inspiration come from for the menu? What shapes your menu you have here?
My background, you asked very important question like my upbringing and all. So I grew up in Nepal, and then went to study in India. So the culture mixes so amazingly. So I studied hotel management, and the hotel management, I completed hotel management and started working with 5-star hotels in India, and then came back to Nepal. So it was always about the customer expectation and the high quality thing that is always in my mind. So when I think about something, I don't I come back to the cost side later. But again, the satisfaction, the education is always important. So the inspiration is always there for me to do the best within the knowledge that I have, obviously. But again, that's a genuine idea that I wanted to produce every time I do something.
Amazing. Love it. There's quite a few Indian style restaurants here in the city. What makes 8848 stand out?
One is the concept, and the second thing is it's the least explored idea. When we talk about talking about the food, we just talk about the calories and how it looks. Obviously that, but nobody talks about the pranic value that the Indian food system counts. That is about, I would say, nutrition 2.0. It's the the good nutrition, at the same time the good vibe, the energy the food carries. So we even talk about the chefs should be happy, there will be enough manpower, and also the way we talk to the people. It's a feel good factor. I really care about these things, because what you eat, a plate of food, is not just in a plate of food, but it goes inside you, it produces the energy, and with that energy that you talk to your family, you go to the office. So there are very much unknown factor involved in the food, and I really tend to carry that with the sentiment.
Right, let's talk about cooking.
So,
I love cooking in the kitchen, and although you can't beat a curry from here, I can never crack a curry at home. What would be the essential ingredients and kind of process to making a simple curry sauce?
of course. Well, basically, in order to make one portion or the 4-5% of the curry sauce, obviously you need some Indian spices like cloves. I would not say Indian spices, but spices like cloves, cardamom, and also the cumin and all. So normally you have you make a paste out of it, and then a bit of onions. You just nicely sorted onions with the coconut oil or the whatever you like it, and after that use the protein that you want to use, and make it nice. As I said, the feel good factor. And I also appreciate, I just wanted to add one more thing, because of people like yourself, that people are trying food at home, and which is an amazing thing, because it bonds things together, with the family and all, and they can always come out. But again, in order to make that curry, you just need a basic few things right, and a bit of concentration, because when you put the masalas, every second is so important, and it can go wrong anytime. So
I think that's where it goes wrong with me. It's
so
attention span drifts.
and also the pride that when you make it, I mean, you should have the courage to eat it.
Yeah, definitely. I know, and that's the thing I forget with spices, that it's timing. Like, I kind of put them in and just like keep it stirring, and just, I think I focus too much on the liquid and the thickness, and not actually the timing that the spice is in there, and obviously it changes over time. So that's a great tips. And on the topic of curry, I mentioned that I don't really like super spicy things. What is the remedy to cooling down a fiery mouth?
Right. Obviously, there are certain things that you can try. If it is too spicy, the first thing, it goes to water, and if not, the yogurt is widely used in India, because it's like a sorbet in French cuisine. Like it just cools you down a little bit. And apart from that, you can always try a little bit of sweet things, like whatever you have, and just take time. So I would say these three.
Great, I'll stick to that. I'll carry those with me at all times. What spice do you think needs to be on everyone's spice rack when they're cooking at home?
I would say, from the nutrition perspective, I would say cardamom. It goes really well, and it just opens up your nerve system, and the fragrance, and everything that just works out really well. And you can use in any cuisine, Mediterranean cuisine, Italian. Just sprinkle up that, and cloves, other things that you can always add on.
Great, and that's something I don't have in my spice cupboard, so I'll have to get that added in. And before we started recording, you mentioned that you're studying some wellness, and you're kind of looking at doing more wellness practices. Do you want to tell us a bit about what you're doing there?
Well, I'm currently doing MSc in mindfulness from Aberdeen University.
Oh, great.
So my idea is to add that aspect into the food industry, because more and more we are becoming process industry, and it's very hard to convince people, to go for these kind of things. So, I'm currently going through the different things, and I always wanted to do, the Indian cuisine, what we are capable of. So I wanted to combine that idea and then produce in the restaurant.
Amazing. And how closely matched is kind of food and wellness, do you think?
Well, frankly speaking, whatever we eat, we don't know how it becomes an energy. So science does not know about that. But what we know, that it turns into your blood, it becomes the bone, it becomes the blood. The nerve system, produce the nerve system, and it becomes the sperm. So 5 different ways your food goes into your body, and whatever you eat. it's not just you, that it remains for your generation to come. So the food is a very important factor. And we talk about the hospital and then the things later on, the diabetes kind of things. But when you're a bit more, I would use the word mindful, you know you are curing most of the things before in hand.
Hmm.
So for me, food is a remedy. Like the historian, the Aristotle say that food is the medicine. So we stick on that, and I wanted to utilize, and I want people to understand how important it is to choose a good restaurant. I'm not saying we are only the good thing, but there are plenty of restaurant, good restaurant, and have the good vibe when you go out for dinner. Have a time with the loved one. Just enjoy the pleasure kind of food things.
Yeah.
And I always recommend that, and I opted to practice that in my life as well.
Fantastic, great. And on the topic of restaurants, what do you hope Restaurant Week brings 8848 over the next 2 weeks?
Well, I always like the idea of Restaurant Week because I did mention about the New York Restaurant Week. When we go there, we always wanted to try different things, and I saw the sensation. A lot of people are making list, and they say, "Okay, I've not tried this restaurant last year. Why don't we go there?" And the another amazing thing is like restaurants are also offering different deals and things like that, whatever the best they have, and people have that opportunity to go and try. For us, we are hoping to bring a lot of new people, who have not tried. As I said, the restaurant looks very small from outside, and people easily get past with the things. So I would, definitely want to welcome them and try our cuisine and say, okay, this is the idea, and then that ignites people to try other places and to visit the places with your loved ones, and people really wanted to mingle around. So I mean, this is what in general that we are looking.
Definitely. And you mentioned you did like New York
Mhm.
Restaurant Week. Was there a place you went that you still dream of today that stays with you? Was there a really great place you ate?
Yes, there are two places that I really like to go again and again. The one is the Indian Accent, which is a top class Indian restaurant, and they try a lot of things. And there was another restaurant that I tried, is the Italian one, and I still remember the spaghetti and the tomato sauce. I don't know how the sauce was really rich, and I was just trying to reconstruct that sauce, and then I never.
Never could. Secret ingredient they've got there. Well, that takes us to the end of this episode of Flying Visits. Thank you to Krish for joining me today. That was a really great chat, and it's always great to see inside businesses, and you've done a great job at giving everyone a taste. But you must come and try out 8848 to see it for yourself, because it's a really great place to come. And thank you at home for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, remember to subscribe at the bottom and also ring the bell so you get notifications of future episodes. This is just the start of my dinner safari, so there will be 2 more videos part of this series for Aberdeen Restaurant Week. So stay tuned and see where I go to next. Before I say bye, I wanted to ask, how do you say bye in Indian?
You normally say namaste, that is
Namaste.
the way, and it's just means that you and me one again, so until we meet. So
Great.
namaste is the
Namaste, but we'll do it in time to the camera. Well, thank you all for joining, and
Namaste.
namaste.